Guess who's back? Back again. Shady's back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Da 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 da. I created a monster, but nobody wants emotional more. They want shady and chopped liver. Hey. The FCC won't let me be your let me be, so let me see. They try to shut me down on MTV, but it feels so empty without me. Come on and dip, bum on your lips, fuck that, come on your lips and some of your tits. Hey, little aliens, kids feeling rebellious, embarrassed in the outfit. Stop feeling like prisoners helpless, so somebody comes along the mission and yells, bitch, visionary, shit is scary. Could start a revolution, pollution airways, a rebel. Search like rebel mad and fat that I got everyone kissing my ass. Da-da. Yo, we ready or what? We get about another couple minutes to join. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Everyone had a hope everyone had a good start to the week too. Right, looked at the charts this morning. Saw them last night. Right, I didn't do a session yesterday, but I was updating my charts. Um, a lot of pairs opened up with huge gaps. Some of them were filled right away. Right, some of them it took them till the NYC session to fill the gaps in. By the time we got on the charts this morning, some of the gaps were already filled. STP was already hit. So, we got the moves we wanted to see for the most part on most of the pairs. Um, that I still have some pairs too. I know we didn't do a session, so a lot of the things that I've written on my charts on some pairs, I think AUGU, Gold, and US30 are the only ones that I have notes on. Um, those were notes I took Thursday, right? Thursday night going into Friday's trading session, right? And I knew that I wasn't gonna do a session, so I put the notes on so we could talk about it, right? And we'll talk about the moves that happened on Thursday, what we were waiting for before we start looking for entries going into Friday session, right? So already knowing what I wanted to look for Thursday going into Friday. And again, these are trades where you're looking for the continuation of the trend, right? This is how you have to look at the charts for the most part when you're looking to take entries, right? Especially when you're looking at a pair that's, to give the example of AU, right? This is a pair that's still uptrending, making higher highs and higher lows. So, in order for me to start looking for shorts and in order for my bias to turn around from looking for uptrend pushes and start looking for the downtrend pushes, there's things you need to see before you could flip your bias into the overall trend, right? To look for the continuations. And that's what Thursday going into Friday was. And if Thursday and Friday would have followed their rules, we know that in the beginning of the week, going into Sunday night, going into Monday night, and for the rest of the week, we could start looking for the short biases if our fools have been followed, right? So there was a lot of pairs that we already knew. We're not looking for a short bias or vice versa. We're not going to be looking for our long biases because these rules haven't flipped yet, right? Price is still uptrending or vice versa. Price is still downtrending. So, um, being able to see that in real time, because a lot of people say like, yeah, when I'm back testing, it feels a lot easier than when I'm trading live. I feel like I can't see the same thing, right? And this is part of that, right? That's why back testing is very important, but then that's also why trading on a live environment is very important. Whether you're trading a demo account is the same thing. You're trading a live environment in real time. You have to be comfortable with being able to not only see what price is doing, but you also have to feel comfortable enough to be patient and not get into trades early. Like, let price develop first. Give you the confirmations you want to see. So then that way you take a higher probable trade when you do enter, right? So that's my philosophy of trading. It's very simple, right? Some days, like we've seen for the most part, are very boring. Some days we're just going to be sitting here and there's not going to be absolutely a fucking thing to trade. Right? Our charts are going to look exactly how it looks right now on AU. There's no trend. As of right now, there's no trend. What is price doing? Just moving sideways. Right? Trapping you if you're going short, trapping you if you're going long. Right? That's all that happened Thursday going into Friday. If you're a pattern trader and all you look for is, oh, shoulder head shoulder, we're getting in. Right? The same way as if you were trading double tops or double bottoms. Oh, a double top, I'm getting in right away. Right? So if you're just a pattern trader and you're not really looking for structure, Thursday's a day where you most likely lost. Right? Friday also is most likely a day that you lost. So it's very important to be patient. Very, very important. So seems like it's just gonna be you and I, Mr. Kendall. If that's the case, again, unless you have any questions about any specific pair, we're pretty much gonna get through this pretty quick. Um, my daily and 4 hour have been pretty much already updated, so I'm not really gonna have to go into details with that. For the pairs, I think EU is maybe the only one that has like a third week push. So we'll talk about that. We'll go in details with that, but if it's just you and I in today's stream, we'll get through this pretty quick. Shouldn't take longer than 30 minutes. Taking notes, patience is a virtue when taking my approach now. Always, man. Patience is the number one thing. The day you get impatient is the day where you start over trading. You start, just taking trades. Fuck it, right? You just wanna say fuck it. I'm just taking a trade, right? There comes again, trading comes to a point where you're very patient with it. And you're patient because you understand that what you're looking for is going to happen, right? And you understand that the day that you have that trade, you're capitalizing on it, right? You already know it's a winning trade, so you already know you can capitalize on it. STP is 64 pips. You've only done 20 pips for the day. You're in the trade. You have 40 pips to capitalize on. Right? You take the beautiful entry, the main entry, and then you start scaling and boom, boom, boom. So you already know that one trade is going to pay you out pretty fairly, pretty good, right? Get you comfortable for the next couple days, right? Before your next trade, right? And then the days and the months where you have trades, two, three, four, five, six trades in a row, a week with trades, that's a beautiful thing. And again, this all goes into the conversation we had a few days ago. That's why it's very important to be smart because, again, this is a business. Trading is a business. And just like any business, you're going to have slow months, you're going to have really good months. So, and however that looks, for some traders, a bad month means you're losing money, right? For other traders, a bad month just means you only took 2, 3 trades. So it depends on what your bad month looks like. That's also something you really have to consider, and why it's easier for some traders to be patient compared to others, because other traders, it's difficult for them to be patient because they just lost 150K and they're on a crazy losing streak. And you have other traders that are patient because there's simply just nothing on the chart. The chart is simply not following my rules. And I only took a month. I only took a trade this month. Right? That's the difference between the definition of patience. Which again, the definition of patience, the same thing with a zone of consolidation, right? Is the characteristics that build up to what patience looks like. Right? And again, the characteristics for some, the reason is more difficult for them to be patient is because they're losing 150K, they're on a 10 losing streak, or whatever the case is. And for other people, their patience is built upon the fact that, damn, I only took 2 trades. Damn, I haven't taken a trade. Damn, there hasn't been any trades for me. So, again, it's a different vibe that we're on over here. Different vibes. But what do I know, man? I'm just here daily, man. I don't know. How long has it been? So, let's get started. You said EU and GJ 3 week highs. Perfect. So, we know AU is still at the top of the zone of consolidation. We're at top of the daily time frame high. We're at the top of the 4 hour time frame high, right? Each high on the 4 hour still, or I'm sorry, on the daily, um, still inducing the highs. We still don't have a valid break of these highs. So as of right now, gotta be a little patient with AU, right? We're in the area where again we would call the safety trade. Right now on the 4 hour time frame as well, you can see price is just inducing the highs, testing the highs. We don't have a valid break. For the week, we have 3 weeks of rise. After 3 weeks, the market must move sideways or go down. We know we have gaps in the market that reset the trend as well. So we want to be careful with AU. Before we could start looking for these short positions, we want to make sure that we get the confirmations we need that tells us that the trend has shifted from an uptrend to a downtrend, right? So then this is where we go on the 30 minute. On the 30 minute, what do we want to see? Remember, the daily time frame. Sorry guys, I crashed on Saturday when I went to go ride, and I'm just very sore. So like breathing in and out kind of fucking hurts. So you're gonna hear me like gasp for air, and it's gonna fucking hurt a little bit. Um, so on the daily time frame, 4 hour time frame, you have the trend, right? And the trend just looks like a straight line, right? Again, you go to the 4 hour time frame, right? This you just see straight green candles, right? You go to the daily time frame, you just see straight green candles, right? On the 30-minute time frame, on the 5 minute time frame, on the 1 minute time frame, that's when you see the structure. You see higher highs and higher lows, right? So what does that mean? Right? You can see that the daily time frame, the 4 hour time frame, it was straight green lines, right? But then you go to the 30, and this is where you now start seeing the higher highs and higher lows. So we already know what our confirmations look like on the 30-minute time frame, right? In order for us to go into the mental shift and the mentality that the uptrend is finished and we're going to start downtrending is on the 30 minute when price gives you a change of character, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, change of character. If price would have given us lower low, lower high, and then it would have given us a lower low break of structure, that's when we could have said, okay, cool. This is where price is going to give us another lower high, and we're going to continue the downtrend push. But that's not what price did. Right? Same thing with the shoulder head shoulder. This is why we have this written here. right? And we talked about that earlier, and I could delete that. Well, I'm gonna keep this on the chart actually, right? In order for a shoulder head shoulder, right? In order for a bearish shoulder head shoulder pattern to be valid, you want to see a valid break of structure of the shoulder that was created, the first shoulder. So I wanted to also see a valid break of structure of the shoulder. And did we get a valid break when price came down? No. And this is why you see this line here. In order for a break of structure to be valid, whether it's with the trend or the pattern or whatever it is that you're looking at, a valid break is going to be not the first initial candle that breaks below the BOS line. This is still a testing candle. It's still an inducement candle. It's still touching the break of structure line. The valid break is another red candle that closes below the first candle's initial wick, right? And you have to make sure that it's not touching the BOS line. And the only candles that came close to it, right? You had this candle here, but it never closed below the body. Or I'm sorry, and the body of it never closed below the wick, right? So this is still an inducement candle. This is still a rejection candle. Then we had another red candle here. Same thing. It didn't close below the first wick. The body didn't close below the wick. And we're also still touching the BOS line. So that was our second confirmation, right? That we already knew this isn't a valid place to start looking for shorts because we don't have a valid break. Price was still inducing the lows. And then what did price do? It came up and it gave you another change of character higher high point. Then price closed for the week. And at the start of the week, we had that crazy gap that came down and it gave us a lower low change of character. Right? So we know that we're trading between these lows and these highs. Right? We had higher high, low, higher high, lower low. So again, we also had a gap at the top of the market. We know gaps have to be filled. Perfect. It filled the gap in. Cool. Am I looking for a lower low, lower high, lower low? No. Why? Because this is still just an inducement. I'm waiting for my confirmations. Now my confirmations on the lower time frame, same thing. Right? We know we're trading from a lower low going into a lower high. What does that look like? A lower high point, when price goes from lower low to lower high, it's price moving up. So now on the lower time frames, I'm going to be looking for the same thing. Right now, what is price doing? Right? And at this point, I would want to say that we're in a we'll be looking for structure on the 1 minute time frame. And I just want to confirm that here. Yeah. Because at this point, we could even say on the 5 minute, we could get aggressive on the 5 minute time frame, especially with that gap. But on the 1 minute, it'll look a little bit better. But we could get aggressive on the 5 minute. There's no problem, right? Because on the 1 minute, we'll say this is lower low, lower high, lower low, and this is where we started, right? We could just skip it just because this is we already know, right? Boom, 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 boom. Then we had higher high, higher low, higher high, right? Higher low, higher high, right? And then this is where price opened, gave you the low. Doesn't matter where we would have put our low here, it'd be the same shit. And then price gave us the change of character. Right, we're still making higher highs, higher lows. And so if we mark up on the 1 minute time frame, 1 minute BOS, right? We could do two things. Just argue for the sake of argument and trading aggressive. We could say that we're trading. Let me see how this looks on the 5 minute. Hold on. Same thing here, right? The only difference would be I would definitely say this is higher high, higher low, right? This is all part of the same trend. This is the higher high. Price came down, gave you a little change of character to the bottom, right? With that wick. Let's see if this wick came below here. Yeah, it did, right? And then price came back up and gave you a change of character back to the top side, right? So on the 5 minute and the 1 minute, if we were to trade aggressive, we would say, or if we were to trade and have our market structure in a little bit more of a, not an aggressive, and a passive, whatever the antonym for aggressive is in trading terms, right? I would say that also on the 1 minute we're trading between this low and this high. But if we wanted to have an aggressive approach, um, if we were to have an aggressive approach, we would say that this is higher high, higher low, higher high, right? So on the 1 minute, I'm gonna mark it up as an aggressive, a more aggressive approach, right? And say that we're trading between here and here, right? But then on the 5 minute, we would say we're trading between here and here, right? And then again, what we're looking for is a change of character and a break of structure on the lower time frames for us to then say on the 30 minute that we're trading between lower low and this is a set lower high point. So that's what I'll be looking for on AU. And again, we don't have any continuations here at all, right? The only thing we have is 3 weeks of rise, and once again, after 3 weeks of rise, the market must move sideways or go down. So what we're expecting for this week is for either price to go down or continue the sideways movement that we're currently in. However, we have a gap in the market. Gaps in the market reset the trend. So again, could price continue this uptrend? Absolutely. So we want to make sure that we're looking for our rules to be displayed before we take a trade, right? What's good, Mr. Albert? Welcome to the stream, my brother. Why do I feel I might be losing touch of what I've learned? I'm just a few months of not being here, man. I'm telling you, again, trading is a skill just like any. Yo, as a matter of fact, I always say that, and I'll give you the example. Yo, Kendo, I started playing COD again. Last time I played COD was December 22nd, 2025. I started playing again, and he's been watching me play. Yo, Kendo, am I shooting and moving the same way I was when I was playing this game every day for 16 hours a day? Yes or no? And the reason I'm asking him that question, stream, he started playing COD and he's butt, exactly. Right? And the reason I'm asking that is again because it's the same thing in trading, right? You don't even have to, Albert. You could go to the Discord right now and ask E the question. Ask E the question. Yo, when you don't trade for 6, 7, 8 months, do you come back and it's like second is like is just first nature, second nature, whatever it is, right? Or does it take you a little bit to get comfortable again on the charts? Ask him. And remember, he's been trading since 2014. He's going to tell you the exact same thing I'm about to tell you right now. That's why I always say you need to make sure you're on. If even if it's not doing this, watching the sessions, yo, take an hour of your day to just look at your charts, update them, continue to work on it because you've been away for a few months. The day you decide to come back, that you're good to come back, you're gonna be back to square one. All the information you learned, every step forward you took, it's you just took those steps back. You're gonna go back to square one. And again, that's the thing with trading. Like, it doesn't matter. Yes, later on in the future, once you already understand and know the information, right? You could take a step back and you'll be able to come back and it's gonna be quicker, right? You're gonna understand everything a lot faster. It's a lot different down the road, but it's still the same thing. That's so crazy considering all that I've learned. Yeah. But again, it's the same way with any skill. It's the same way with me with baseball. To give you another example, right? Baseball is a sport I played when I was 7 years old, up until I was 17. I played travel. I played, regular at a park. I played travel. I played high school. I bet you right now, if I pick up a bat and a ball and I try to pitch and or I try to hit a ball or whatever, I'm not gonna be the same player I was when I played it every single day and I practice every single day. Again, yes, I could come back and after a couple days of practice and a couple weeks of practice, it'll be like I never left, right? It'll be a little bit better, right? But I'm never going to be the player that I once was. It's lack of practice. It's a lot of time has passed. Again, is there, you still know the information, right? You still know how to hold the bat the right way. You still know how to, you still know how to stand, how to catch, how to throw the ball. You can still do those easy things, quote unquote. That's easy. But once again, a professional baseball player is different than somebody who just plays it for fun, right? And at the end of the day, somebody who plays it for fun, they could still do little tournaments and they could still coach a team. They could. I'll put it in money. Yo, I'll give you the best example I could give you. Right, somebody who does it for fun as a hobby, they could be making a cool 60,000 a year. Somebody who does it professionally is going to be making 100 million. Same thing in trading, right? Somebody who does it for fun as a hobby, doesn't do it every single day, they could be making 60,000, 80,000 a year. But somebody who's trading professionally is going to be making 50 million, 100 million. Just the same way. And I could give you the example with every sport. Again, same thing with football, American football, same thing with soccer. A soccer coach, somebody who does it for fun, coaches a team in school, they're going to be making cool 40,000, 60,000, 70,000. Compare that to a professional athlete who's doing it as a profession every single day. They're making millions. So again, is the same thing with trading. And again, it doesn't matter. That's something I always say. Like again, whether you want trading to be a profession, something that you want to do professionally, as a career, as a real career choice, that's just how it's gonna be. This is just like any other sport. This is just like any other profession, right? Could you do this as a hobby, as something you do to pass time, and you have time in your hands to look at the charts? Again, we'll give the example of people in our class, right? You're a surgeon. You don't have time to be on the charts all day, but guess what? You're gonna have a schedule. You're gonna have days where you're not on schedule, or you might use this as a tool for retirement. You're cool making 60K, 80K. You don't gotta be on the charts every single day. You don't know. You just get on the charts whenever you can. If there's a trade, you take it. Like that's cool. You see what I'm saying? So again, everybody's different. Again, trading doesn't have to look the same for everybody. I think again, the worst thing about social media is that everybody believes that this is the only blueprint with trading and you're going to be making 100 million because you're going to be on your charts every single day. Like, no, you don't have to be that. But understand that you're not going to be making, or you're not going to be, I don't even want to use that word because, again, like, you don't need to be making 200,000, 500,000, $1 million to be successful. Success looks different for everybody. Well, you're comfortable with 100,000. Realistically speaking, everybody's comfortable with 100,000. But if you want a Bugatti and a Lamborghini and you want 10 cars and you want a mansion, you need a little bit more than 100K. And you want to go to the club and eat out every day. Yeah, you need a little bit more than 100K. But if you're just trying to live life, be comfortable, not do none of that bullshit, 100K, yo, what? 100K, you chillin'. 60K will make you live like a king here. That's what I'm saying, especially for you guys who live overseas, right? And we're talking about, right, 60K USD for those who don't know, right? 60K USD in a lot of places in the world, you live like a fucking king. And again, to put the perspective on hand, 60K for you, right? 60K USD where you live is like us having 200K here. I'll give you the good example. Right? 200K USD for the people who live here. 200K you live pretty comfortable, right? You could do whatever. You could do again. You're living comfortable. Chill. Good thing is I finally met a good mechanic. Things will get better always, man. Yeah, it's like the conversation we had, bro. Like life is gonna throw curveballs at you, but understand that there's always a solution to the problems at hand. Again, for everybody is different. Some people it might be a couple days. Some people it might be a week or two. For some people it might be 2 months, right? For some people it might be a year. But you can't let that shit stop what you gotta do. There's always solutions to the problem. The problem just might be resolved in a later time, but there's always solutions. So we've been talking for 30 minutes, man, but it was a good talk. It was definitely needed. So we'll keep moving forward again. If there's really no questions in the chat or no specific pairs, then again, the stream is gonna go by pretty quick. Um, Again, I'm just gonna update my charts, everything that needs to be updated, anything that we need to talk about, we'll talk about it. If not, I'm gonna just update the charts and go through them pretty quick. All right, specifically for EA, we don't have any we still got that gap at the bottom, and again, like we've been talking about with EA, this is still a pair at this point for me that I'm not really trading for now. So I'm just gonna update it and move forward. ECAD pretty similar, right? This is another pair that I'm not really trading for right now. Still trading lower low, lower high, and these lower lows at the bottom. We had a gap at the beginning of the week. At the market opened for the week, price went up, filled it, came back down, finished on a little day of rise. We had 3 days of drop. After 3 days of drop, market must move sideways or go up. We went up. So again, price doing exactly what it needs to do. For EU, still in this little zone of consolidation, we're just faking traders out, right? Change of character to the bottom, change of character to the top, change of character to the bottom, right? So we're trading between these lows over here and these highs. 2 days of drop, market had a gap, gave us a day of rise. We had a gap in the market, we filled the gap up, we had the inducement to the bottom. We have a third week push. So this week we could be expecting price to give us a third week push to the top side. Once again, the only thing blocking this from giving us that third push is the fact that we're trading um in a weekly market gap open. So again, price, the trend resets. So is this something that I'm expecting price to give us? I'm not expecting it, but I'll be looking for it. Right? Understanding the same thing. Right now we have a 30-minute change of character, lower low. So on the lower time frames, what are we gonna see? Lower lows and lower highs. And on the 5-minute time frame, we had a change of character to the bottom. We had a change of character to the top side. Right? Then we had a change of character back down to the bottom. And we know we're trading between the same 5-minute high and low as the 30-minute. And on the 1 minute, again, if we want to get aggressive with it, this is where we could say, let's say lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? And then we have higher high, higher low, high, high, low, high, low, change back to the top side, low, then we had high, low, high, low, then we have high, low, 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 high. This is where price moves sideways for a little bit. And then we had the low there. We're trading between this low and this high, and then price gave us a change back to the top side. So we're trading 1 minute change of character. We're trading between this low over here. 1 minute BOS. 1 minute BOS. So we already know. In order for me to start looking for those uptrends, I need to see that change and break on the lower time frame. EMAs are looking good on the 32. We have the 50 back above the 200. We are in V2. We want to see price bounce off the 50 EMA. Looking to see if there's any engulfing candles here. Nothing on the 4, nothing on the 1, nothing on the daily, nothing on the 30. Go to the 15. On the 15, we have an engulfing candle that price is sitting on. So that's before our entry confirmations. So we still got to wait it out for that. That's why I want to see if we have anything lower to see maybe price wants to give us a steeper pullback, right? Instead of giving us an entry somewhere at these highs here. But we'll be patient. We have all day, right? STP pretty much will be hit for today if price decides to hit that 3rd week high today. And again, like something else I'm looking at, right? We have clean traffic all the way back to the top side, right? At this point, the only structure we have in order for us to tell us that price is going to continue is the internal structure that price is currently making, right? So if price breaks here, boom, continuation, boom, same thing. We're looking for a break, boom, continuation, higher low, right? Same thing here. We're looking for a higher high. So even internally, like when we're looking at structure, we know that we're trading between this higher low and these higher highs, right? So at this moment, we know there's two things the market could do, either trend, right, or consolidate, right? So same thing, we're either going to see price give us these internal lower lows and lower highs to give us a higher low point, right? Because we know we're trading between this higher high, higher low to then go up, right? Or we're going to see price give us what we see right now, which is a zone of consolidation, and we'll be looking for price to give us a break retest to then continue. There's only two things that could happen here. And we're going to keep this marked up so you guys could see, like, oh, this guy trades in hindsight. He drew this out because price already did. All right. Okay, guys. Anyway, let's keep going. Right, Mr. Hindsight Traders, man. Like, yeah. But again, guys, I don't know what I'm talking about, bro. I'm just here for the vibes. But we'll keep that marked up for the non-believers. What is this 30-minute change? We're trading between these highs and these lows. Then price open with a gap. Gave us a day of drop. We filled that gap in. Perfect. GA is another pair I'm not really trading, but we're going to keep it updated for now. GCAT is another pair that I'm not really trading. Price gave us lower low, lower high, but didn't give us a valid break. So I'm just going to update. Right, we don't have a valid break below these lows. No, we want to see a valid break below the wick, or the opening candle for the week. We have a gap. So for now, I'm just going to keep it marked up like this. And we had a no net, 3 days of drop. After 3 days, the market must move sideways or go up. And we move sideways. GJ. Damn, bro, I ran out of water. GJ, we had a change. We had a break. Looking to see where the lower high point is going to be made. We had a gap in the market. Price filled out the gap, went back up. Fuck, I can't even speak. We have that 1 hour engulfing candle. You said that GJ had a 3rd week push too. Am I tripping or what? I have this marked as a no net. Yeah. This guy Kendall's always lying to me, bro. I don't get it. I don't know what the fuck I ever did to deserve that shit from him, but it's all good. We have a 3rd week on GJ. This fucking guy's a liar. This guy's a liar. Sucks. Like, I don't know what the hell I ever did to him for him to be fucking just lying to me all the time. So GJ will be patient, right? This is a pair that we know overall is still making higher highs and higher lows. So again, this push to the bottom side that we see on the 30-minute could just be a higher time frame, higher low point to continue into a higher high. So, and again, looking at the EMAs and how price is printing, I'm not convinced that this is a high probable area for a short position, right? I want to see a little bit more confirmations. But again, what I do like about this, again, we have clean traffic all the way back to the top side. At the end of the day, we need to see what price does when we reach these highs up here. Lower time frame, as soon as we get into our point of interest, once again, just because price tapped into an engulfing candle, especially when it's a higher time frame engulfing candle, just because it tapped into it doesn't mean I'm getting it. No. When price taps into this, what is price still doing? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. What does that mean? That when we tap into our point of interest, I want to see price start making lower lows and lower highs. And that's when I'm looking to get into the trade to continue these pushes down to the bottom. That's what I'm going to be looking for. So, once again, super simple trades, man. Like, the shit is looking for the same things to happen day in and day out every single day. My weekly line moved. It was on Monday. That was on me. It's all good, bro. I'll let it slide this time. For GU, still trading between the change of character lower low, the inducement. We know this is a pair that's in an overall uptrend very similar to EU, so we'll wait for the same confirmations. And then US 30, gold, Bitcoin, oil, and silver. You guys already know. I don't really like going through these or give examples or anything on or give my analysis on stream, just because again, for the most part, a lot of people that watch us are just starting out, beginner traders, novice traders, people who have no reason to be looking at US 30 or gold or Bitcoin, right? These big pairs. There's no need for you guys to be looking at these pairs. So I update them. I do trade them in the morning. So in the live sessions, I will be looking at these pairs and give my own analysis in the morning before I trade. But during the isolation sessions, I am not doing that. Bitcoin closes in 20 minutes. Oil, bro, oil is. This could either be really good or really bad for oil. And I'm more talking about the market makers pattern, of course. I don't give a fuck what's happening in real life. That's just not real. What's real is what's happening on the charts. But again, what we know on the charts is that we're just in a pretty nice zone of consolidation. We're back at the bottom, so yeah, it's very simple for me. Very simple for me to understand that at the bottom of the zone of consolidation, we're gonna either get the break to then continue to go short, or we're going to get price to give us the inducement of the low to then go back up. And then everybody's going to say that, oh, it's because this and this happened and this happened and we're at war again. All right. The shit that's happening politically is happening because they know that they have to follow through with what's really going to happen here on the markets. But, that's a lot of crazy talk. I can't really talk like that on YouTube, man. I'll get banned. And then the FBI might come knocking at my door like, hey, we're going to start telling people you're suicidal, if you know what I mean. HeroFX demo account works well with the app on both phone and PC. Thanks a lot, brother. Of course, my brother, no problem. No problemo. You have a third week low on oil too. This could be a good one to keep an eye on. Just wish you had better structure. Same thing with silver and the other ones too. Like, just in a zone of consolidation, a little shoulder head shoulder for the vibes. So we know what we're gonna be looking for regardless. We want to see price break these lows before we even consider to look for a trade. We know the range that we're trading in, the area, so we'll be patient. So that's pretty much it for tonight's session, guys. We had a lot of good information, a lot of talking. Any other questions before we turn the stream off? Let me know. If not, that's it for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow morning for the live trading session. We'll definitely be live tomorrow morning. So Again, even if there's no trades, I wake up, I look at the charts. If I see that there's no trades, I don't even get on the charts, but we'll turn it on tomorrow. We'll go through the pairs. You guys will see what I go through every day. My checklist. So it'll either be a very quick stream or it's going to be a stream where we're going to be looking for trades. Any questions, let me know. We'll give you another 50 seconds. Good night, bro. It's almost 12 a.m. here. Good night, my brother. Hope you have a good rest of your night, man. Damn, bro, that's dope as fuck. Yo, my one of my high school teachers, she works at Spotify now. When it comes to like corporate jobs and like that type of lifestyle, like she lives a second dream life of mine. She used to work at Meta too. She worked at Meta for a few years, and then now she works at Spotify. I wonder what she does though. Like what she does for them. Yeah, I mean, I could figure it out, bro. I'm acting like I don't fucking. Let me see. She does director of sales. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's fire. That's like dream life right there. Damn, bro. She worked at Meta for 7 years. Fuck. All right, no questions, guys. No problem. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace out.